Well, while Russian literature may not be everyone's cup of tea, there's an innovative program at the University of Virginia, my alma mater, that's taking these works to places they rarely see. The course is called Books Behind Bars, and it's introducing young men behind bars to the works of Tolstoy and Dostoyevsky. We sent our cameras to Beaumont Juvenile Correctional Center, a maximum security facility in Virginia, to get a firsthand look at how this program is changing lives.
We're at Beaumont Juvenile Correctional Center. There are approximately 250 kids here, ranging in age from 14 or 15 to 21. The kids who are here are the kids who have committed more serious offenses or have a longer history of offending. We work every day to try to get them in a better place. We try to provide them with rigorous rehabilitative opportunities, treatment opportunities, educational opportunities, vocational opportunities.
I am a lecturer at the University of Virginia in Russian literature.
We started with Tolstoy, we're ending with Dostoyevsky.
I created a course in which my own students would be given the opportunity to have conversations about Russian literature with people who come from very different life experiences than they do. The whole course is called Books Behind Bars, Life, Literature, and Leadership. The UVA students come here to Beaumont, and the students' task is simply for an hour and a half to facilitate an interesting, engaging conversation about that week's reading. The reason Russian literature works with an incarcerated youth population is because the themes are so universal.
My favorite story had to be Matryona's Home. I liked it because I could relate to it so well, you know, and that goes with a lot of the stories that we read. I guess that's probably why I like this class so much.
It's just kind of cool to have a place to talk about like the literature and the themes in the literature that relate to our lives.
I can apply the lessons that I've learned in the literature to my life.
I feel like we've gotten really close and had a genuine connection develop with the 3 residents that we've worked with, and that's been the best part of it.
I get to get comfortable and get to actually like share my actual thoughts and like feelings and stuff.
Letting people see that these kids are bright, that they're creative, and that they are motivated to change.
Please welcome from the University of Virginia, Andrew Kaufman. Nice to see you. How are you? Wahoo wah. So how does a guy from Michigan become pretty much one of the world's experts on Russian literature? You literally wrote the book. Yes, Andrew wrote Russian for Dummies, and I really need this because I couldn't even read the title. There you go. So how did you get involved in the study of this?
Well, I have my parents to thank who suggested I start learning Russian in high school at a local community college because Gorbachev was coming into power at that time. Russia was opening up, there would be business opportunities. But when I got to college, I realized that my real love of Russia was the literature and the arts. And when I was a sophomore, I took a course, a survey course of Russian literature, and within the first 3 weeks of the semester, the professor assigned this little book called War and Peace, little book, and I was terrified, like most readers, when they first encountered this book, but something very powerful happened. As I started reading, I became seduced by this world that was so incredibly real and lifelike and alive, and I was very moved by characters who were searching for their place in the world, asking the big questions. Who am I? Why am I here? How should I live? Because I was a young man, I was going through a transitional period in my life, and these were questions that I was grappling with, you know, in my own life. So it was a very personal, relevant experience to me.
And for other people who might be intimidated by War and Peace, I know you've written a new book called Give War and Peace a Chance. Tolstoyan Wisdom for Troubled Times, which I think shows how enduring this literature is. And how did you come up with the idea of Books Behind Bars? Did you start thinking, well, this literature helped me so much at an important time in my life, this could help these other young men deal with the things they're grappling with?
Absolutely. So I had been teaching literature for many years. I've been trying to find ways to make it really relevant and personal to my students. But the real moment came in 2009 when I was invited to teach a workshop in an adult prison. I'd never been to a prison before. I was asked to teach a workshop about a short story by Tolstoy called The Death of Ivan Ilyich, which is about a middle-aged guy who contracts a fatal illness and has to come to terms with how he's lived his life. And my task was simply to teach a class about this story. And I remember the moment when I walked into that prison classroom, and I was dressed, you know, even more formally than I am today. My apologies, I've become less formal over the years.
You look very nice.
And I'm dressed in my suit and my penny loafers, and I walk into this room, and there are 15 pairs of male eyes staring at me from above identical orange jumpsuits. And this is my classroom. And I realized that whatever I had planned, my lecture, it wasn't going to work. So I simply tossed the notes aside and I asked a very simple question. I said, what did reading this story mean to you? And that simple question led to one of the most powerful teaching experiences of my life, where these men opened up and shared their own life stories. Conversations about Russian literature became conversations about real life. But the thing that happened that was most significant is how I came away from that experience with a totally new understanding of this story that I thought I knew.
So obviously they're teaching you as well, and you're also teaching students, because this has become a very popular course among students at UVA. Two of them, Kamala Ganesh and Jackie Sapola, are here today. And Kamala, I know you're a junior majoring in biology, minoring in astronomy, and yet you wanted to get involved in this program. Why?
So I wanted to get involved in this program because I actually started volunteering with another program at UVA that you're probably familiar with, Madison House.
Right.
And they have a program at the adult prison where I would tutor inmates one-on-one in GED preparation. And last semester, my student was 23, and I found that we really clicked and we got along really well, and that enhanced the learning experience a lot. And so I heard of this course through somebody else who had done the same GED tutoring program. And so I wanted to try and work with kids more close to my age, because I thought that I could really relate to them and stuff. And I've also just I've read a lot about the injustices involved in the U.S. prison system.
What has being involved in this course done for you?
It's done a lot for me. I think that I didn't come in with a lot of, I would say, preconceptions really, but it has any subconscious stereotypes I had were completely broken down by working with these students in this course. For instance, I think I had some subconscious preconceptions about kids involved in gang activity, that they might be hard, that they might be hard to reach, and not as emotionally open, and this was not true at all. I think our students were completely emotionally vulnerable with us, and so that required us to be as well.
And what about you, Jackie?
So I'm a foreign affairs and history major. I'm a fourth year at the university, and I had the opportunity to intern for a defense attorney over the summer, and it kind of gave me an introductory knowledge to the judicial system and to the legal system. And I had walked into the regional adult prison there, and I kind of saw what was going on, and then one day I just kind of checked my email, and there was a class, an email about this course, and I was like, wow, Books Behind Bars. So I didn't even think, I applied to the class, I didn't even think I was going to get in, but I kind of thought it was going to be just a path to law school for me, but no, it has turned out to be so much more than that. I've made such great friends in this class, even with our residents, they were awesome. You saw him in the video. He was such a wonderful kid to get to know, so.
Well, when we come back, we're going to hear from a former inmate about how Books Behind Bars changed his life. That's right after this. And we're back with Andrew Kaufman, author of the new book, Give War and Peace a Chance. He also spearheaded a program called Books Behind Bars, which introduces Russian literature to young men who are incarcerated at the Beaumont Juvenile Correctional Facility in Beaumont, Virginia. Doug Avila is a former resident of the facility. And Doug, I know in July of 2012, you robbed two women at a local supermarket. You were incarcerated for robbery and grand larceny.
Correct.
You spent, I guess, a year and a half behind bars. What was that like for you?
It's really depressing, and it's lonely. You have nothing but time for yourself, and it's what you see on TV. You see the bars, you see the gates, you see the barbed wire. I was kind of jealous of other inmates because my window, all I saw was barbed wire, and they had this view of the sun, the hill, the little lake, trees, and all I could see was barbed wire.
How old were you during this period?
17.
17 years old.
Yeah.
And I know that you participated in Books Behind Bars. Tell me about your experience with the program.
Well, the program's excellent. you see college kids, and if you're into college like I am, and I am in college, you have intelligent conversations. You're really into it. Like you don't talk about the sex. You don't talk about killing. You don't talk about crime. You talk about actually college. You can have intelligent conversations with these kids, and I feel like I was human. Like I didn't feel like I was locked up.
And you also got a chance to talk about literature, you know, to me, which is probably something that normally you would never imagine discussing in a facility like you were in. Was there any story that particularly resonated with you?
Yeah, it was called Crime and Punishment from Fyodor Dostoyevsky, if I'm saying it correct. And it talked about a guy that murdered, but I didn't murder anyone, obviously, but it talked about a crime, that's the moral, and he didn't get away with it, but the detective basically was, you know, on his back because he felt like he knew that the detective knew that he killed the killer. And so the moral of the story is that he did a crime, he paid for it, he turned himself in, and I can relate to that because he got locked up, I got locked up, both did a crime, and you gotta pay for it.
And does this validate, Andrew, your feelings that this literature can speak to everyone, no matter what situation they may be in, no matter where and when they're living?
Absolutely. I was teary-eyed this morning when I saw Doug, because I didn't know if he was going to be here, and it was a powerful experience for me because there are other Dougs out there who go through this program who have said that once a week they feel like a human being and not like a criminal. And that's because they're being taken seriously as students, as learners, as people that have something of value to contribute to conversations about life and literature. They're not being treated as criminals, and they're proving that they're not.
Do you feel like this program really changed your life?
Absolutely. Before I got incarcerated, I didn't feel as smart. Like, I taught myself when I was like, in this program, I learned Russia. I even read Crime and Punishment when I went home. I read it again.
Really?
Yeah, like, it's really powerful. And I learned a lot from the program, and I'm just thankful.
And I know that you were released in December of 2013, so tell us what you're doing today.
I'm currently a college student at community college in Northern Virginia. And I'm actually working. I'm a student. My major is fine arts. I'm studying to be an interior designer. I love drawing. That's all I did in jail, and play chess by myself. But and so I also work at a grocery store. It's ironic, but I'm doing that. I'm a produce clerk, and it's basically what I'm doing.
Sounds like you've got your act together in a big way.
Absolutely.
And Andrew, this must feel just wonderful for you to see. I'm sure there are many other Dougs out there whose lives you've touched through your program and who now are moving forward in a much more productive way.
Well, it's not just me. I mean, I started the program, but it's really the relationship with the students, with Kamala and Jackie and the other students. They do the heavy lifting. You know, my partner and I, we just get the ship running, but the students run the ship, and they develop these relationships. And you know, residents have been inspired to go to college. You know, like Doug, they take themselves seriously as you know, as students. They talk about how the messages that Russian literature contains about compassion and love and courage. I mean, they've been hearing these messages their whole lives, but they would go in one ear and out the other. But when you talk about them in a very personal way, through literature, with peers your own age, those messages come alive. And these are some of the things that we've been hearing from former residents who've gone through this program.
Well, you're proof positive that this is having a real impact. Doug and Andrew, Kamala and Jackie, thank you all for telling us about Books Behind Bars, and good luck.
Thank you.
And by the way, everyone in our audience is going home with a copy of Andrew's book, Give War and Peace a Chance, and I hope you will give War and Peace a chance. We'll be back right after this.
Coming up, Katie's breaking down the week's hottest headlines. What's behind the reported violent scuffle between Beyonce's sister Solange and Jay-Z? That's coming up.